Look, I could have you arrested for kidnapping, okay?
Oh, you gonna have me arrested for kidnapping? How do you figure? You can't have me arrested. He's a runaway. You can't kidnap a runaway. Come on, genius. You said GW, didn't you?
I'm sure I could find some reason to arrest you.
And let me ask you, what do you want for him?
I'm not gonna sell him to you.
No, what do you want for his life? His future?
Why are you at? You don't
You know
know
about the
anything
wrestling thing?
about him. Yes, of course I know about the
All right, so I
wrestling.
know something about him, don't I? So, you're a little late to the party. This is what's going on. I made a promise to him to give him that wrestling school in Aden.
Oh.
You understand?
Mm.
I gave him my word, and I ain't going back down on my word. Now, you seem like a nice person. You care for him and all. You came all the way out here. Maybe it's because you like me. I don't know. Yeah. And, I'm offering you a favor. You can get on that raft with us, and you can ride down there if you want.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Film Bros Podcast. My name is Isaiah Lucas, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Nick.
That's it, today.
Again? Yeah, again, he's left us.
Yeah, we got a limb missing.
Yeah, man.
Our leg is
Still
gone.
I'm not used to it.
Yeah,
I always like, because I look here, I go here, and I'm like, oh.
yeah. I just immediately want to sing, Gary, can't you see? I was blind to fool. Dude.
Oh,
Gary, come home.
Yes, dude, yes. I'm telling you, we need like a little cardboard cutout of him right here, just so I can look at something.
And then we can do an impression or like ventriloquism whenever we want him to chime
Move
in.
his little jaw or whatever. It could work. It
Yeah.
really could.
Yeah. Well, as you can see, if you're watching on video right now, Abraham is not with us today.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he had some stuff come up at work. He has to stay a little extra longer today, and he couldn't make it whenever we were recording. So he's not going to join us for his pick today, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
He would have loved this movie, too.
yeah.
Would
I
he
think
have
so.
cried?
Maybe. If it's his first time.
I think so.
Cause
I think he's got a little soft spot for
Yeah.
movies like this.
it's a wholesome tearjerker.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire time, you just can't help but smile.
Oh, yeah. I've cheesed the whole time I'm watching it.
Yeah. The movie that Abe picked was 2019's The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yes.
And it was written and directed by Tyler Nilson and Michael Schwartz.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I first heard about this movie, I think I got an ad for it on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. And just from the ad, I saw Shia LaBeouf's character, and I was like, okay,
I'm in.
I'm in already.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm excited for anything Shia is in.
That's the hold he has on us.
Yeah, and then I saw Dakota Johnston, or is it Johnson?
Johnson. The same.
One letter off.
Yes.
But I saw Dakota Johnson in it, and I was like, okay, I know her from like the whole 50 Shades of Grey.
Johnson.
Yeah, areas.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Literally all I
Yeah.
know her from.
And then there's this new guy named Zach, and I was like, from the ad that I saw on Instagram, it looked like a Road Dogg movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, it's piqued my interest. I'm kind of curious about it. And one day, I think after it had to have been like a weekend or something like that, Alexa and I were in Fresno, and we were, just having a chill day. Like, a chill day for us consists of like just going out, getting some food, going to Mad Monk, going to Target, like just like going all these places that we like and just browsing, and just hanging out and doing whatever we want.
Kind of like window shopping.
Yeah, exactly. And we were still looking for stuff to do. It was like middle of the afternoon, and I remember looking on the Fandango app.
You saw it in theaters?
Yes. Yeah, we went on the Fandango app, and I saw that there was playing one showing of it at the Clovis Sierra Vista Theater.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, yo, this is playing like in 20 minutes. Like
An impromptu movie?
Yeah, and I was like, I've been really wanting to check this out. It looks really good. It looks wholesome. You want to go see it? And she was like, yeah, let's go watch it.
Dude, that's cool. What
And
the
so we went in, and I remember we were late to the movie. So I didn't see like the beginning whenever Zach like tries to break out the first time.
Oh, the whole pudding escape
Yeah,
plan.
like whenever we got introduced to the movie, Shia was what was he doing? He had like just got beaten up.
Oh, okay.
And so we were like, okay, like we walked in late, so like we don't know what's going on before this, but sit down, and the entire time we were just like this is great, dude. I love this. And, you know, tearing up and laughing, having a great time. And we walked out of the theater and we were just like, I'm so glad we went and saw that. That was great. Like, and we did like, it was like a split decision thing, you know, where we were just like, hey, it's happening. We don't got anything to do. Let's go do it.
What a good movie to join into, man.
Yeah.
I can't even, did I watch it with you guys for the first time? I have
don't know.
a unique ability to forget. Like, full stop. I just forget, like, not the most like impactful stuff, but like my first time watching this, I don't remember.
Okay.
But I remember loving it. I do know that. I think I did watch it with Lisa.
Okay.
And I think the title immediately intrigued me because the Peanut Butter Falcon, it's words that you would never expect to be together.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the whole premise of the movie, you're like,
what is that?
how is that going to combine together?
Yeah.
How is this going to make sense?
Yeah.
Even I was talking to my brother and he asked me what pick we did and I said Peanut Butter Falcon and he said, do they explain that in the movie? I said, yeah, they do. They end up telling you what it's all about. But I think just from the title, I was like, okay, what the heck is this about?
Yeah.
And then I was immediately drawn into just its like wholesome, heartfelt story.
Yeah.
And I think I'm glad to say I feel the same way as I did from the first time.
Yeah.
I still ended up loving it. I still was smiling cheek to cheek, and I had a good time. I don't know.
Yeah, me too. I think this is one of those movies too where like I've had people come over, like old coworkers, for dinner and stuff like that. And I remember one time the first time we had this specific coworker. He was a previous coworker of mine. He brought his wife over and we had dinner and just hung out because we hadn't seen each other in a while. And the first time that they came over, before I had left that job, I talked so much about Hereditary. And he was like, oh, yeah, I want to check it out. And so whenever he came over, I was like, let's watch it.
Oh, that's a movie, man.
and so we watched it. I remember the entire time he was just like, yo, what are you making me watch, dude?
Why are these naked fools on the TV?
Yeah, and so the whole time he was just like, that's crazy. This is wild and all this stuff. And I remember like thinking it was funny watching his reactions, but also afterwards he was just like, man, that was a crazy movie, but it was good too. Like, but yeah, wild, you know. I'll have to tell some people about that one. And then, you know, a couple months pass, and he was like, oh, yeah, we got to come over again and have another movie night. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I promise you I won't show you another movie like Hereditary because...
And then you put on Midsummer.
Like, I don't want to, you know, give your wife this impression of me where I'm just like this like weirdo who like shows people these like horrible things the first time that they meet. And so I was like, yo, we're going to get together. We're going to watch this like wholesome movie called The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yes.
And they're like, okay, I don't know anything about it. And I was like, that's perfect. Like, this is a movie, like, if you know nothing about it and you just watch what unfolds on screen, you're going to be so happy by the end of it.
Yes, immediately captivated.
Yeah. And so I remember they came over, we had some pizza and watched the movie while we ate. And the entire time they were just like, this movie was great. Mm-hmm. And I remember afterwards my coworker was like, I feel like this is a movie like my whole family would love. Mm-hmm. Like, I would like take my whole family to see this movie and just like sit down and just smile and just like have a light hearted watch that's just, you know, just good from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm. Two guys learning about each other and finding out more about themselves.
Yeah. And
it's got the most wholesome message just throughout the whole thing too.
Yeah.
It's all around. It's got all the things to be like this warm hug of a movie.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it exists. I laugh quite a bit too.
Yeah, me too.
There are parts of this where it catches me off guard.
Yeah.
The timing of all the jokes hit perfect. And it's good. I can't wait to dive into some of the favorite scenes. It's a very simple movie as well.
Yes.
So it'll be kind of easy to
walk through.
Yeah, to walk through it all. Yeah.
Well, let's do it, man. This movie is, I don't believe, currently streaming anywhere.
No.
I had the luxury of owning it physically and digitally. So I just went to my collection, popped it in, and watched it. But if you don't have that luxury and you want to rent it before you buy it or something
it's on Paramount.
Oh, it is on Paramount Plus.
I think that's how I watched it, Paramount Plus.
Okay, cool. So if you do have Paramount Plus, then you can stream it there. If not, rent it for $4, $3 or something like that. I can guarantee you won't be upset that you did.
No way. Not at all.
So, check it out. And as always, we're going to get into spoilers. and all that stuff. So if that's something you want to avoid, if you haven't checked the movie out, pause it, or come back to the episode. Or if you don't care about that stuff, continue listening. We're gonna hit a brief synopsis, and then we'll dive into our favorite scenes.
Let's do it.
So this movie is about a guy named Zach, who is a person with Down syndrome, and he is currently living in a retirement home in Georgia, and the only reason that he's there is because he unfortunately doesn't have any family or any friends to take care of him or to give him the necessary care that he needs to survive, basically. And so because of that, the state has put it upon this retirement home to take him in.
He's just with a bunch of old people.
Yeah,
like,
so
he doesn't really belong there.
Yeah, so he's this, young guy living with all of these retirement folk who unfortunately get left there to kind of just pass away and get forgotten about. And he has like no prospects in life because of where he's currently at and because of his condition. And his one dream in life is to be a professional wrestler. And his whole, idol in the wrestling world that this movie creates is a man called the Saltwater Redneck.
The Saltwater Redneck.
Yeah, who is played by none other than the guy that does Sandman.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
I can't get that voice out of my head.
Yeah, me either.
Oh.
But so he, idolizes this guy and just wants to be a professional wrestler like him. And in order to do so, he needs to escape his retirement home that he's currently living in and try to go to this wrestling school in Ada, North Carolina that he's heard so much about, where the Saltwater Redneck teaches people how to professionally wrestle and all this stuff. So that's his dream, is to go to this wrestling school and to become a professional wrestler. And in doing so, he ends up escaping and runs into one of the other main characters named Tyler, who is like a degenerate.
Yeah, he's got his own miseries he's
just,
going through.
Yeah, he's just a drifter, basically. And, he doesn't do much for work when he can. He does work, but, he's just he's got nothing holding him down, really. Yeah. And, he doesn't really have anything of his own. You can tell he kind of just lives off the land. He works when he can, but there's just really nothing tying him down. He has no home. Doesn't look like he has any family. He doesn't have any friends or anything like that. So him and Zach are really alike in some ways because they all are missing something. And these two characters end up crossing paths, and they end up going on a journey with one another to go to the wrestling school in Ada, North Carolina that Zach knows so much about. And we watch their journey from Georgia all the way up to North Carolina. And they travel through like the Outer Banks of the East Coast to get up to North Carolina to take him to this wrestling school. And that's just the whole goal of their trip.
Yeah,
and
pretty simple.
We watch it unfold.
Simple story, very complex characters.
Yes.
Which I love.
Yes. So if that's something that intrigues you, go check it out. Again, it is a movie that is worth your time. I can guarantee it. It's an hour 30. It's nothing.
It's a bite-sized movie, man.
Yeah, it gets in, it gets out, says what it needs to say, and again, incredibly wholesome. I can guarantee you won't be upset that you watched it.
No.
So, rated PG-13, and I think other than that, we're good to go.
Good to go.
All right. So we're gonna start off with our favorite scenes, as always.
Yeah.
But my first favorite scene doesn't hit until we get to that swimming hole scene.
The swimming hole where they're
when Zach and Tyler split ways for the first time.
Oh, okay. So I'll bring in the I like the intro scene.
Okay.
Only because it's a funny way to introduce these characters. Because there, of course, we talked about the retirement home. There's a bunch of old people, and then there's Zach, and I just like Carl. Yeah. Which his name is gosh, I had it here.
It's Bruce Dern.
Bruce Dern.
It's Laura Dern's father.
Bruce Dern. He is great.
Yeah.
He's just like this very like kind of mischievous old man. But we meet him a little later, but he goes and he's like, Zach's getting his food and he goes, hey, you forgot the pudding. She puts it on there and he goes and sits down and he's got this whole plan lined up where he's looking at this older lady in front of him, gives her a piece of paper, and then she unfolds the paper and it's like, I give you pudding and then you give me an exit.
Yeah. You create a diversion so I can escape.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how it's written out. It's kind of, like not the most detailed plan, but we immediately know his plan. And of course, Dakota Wilson's or Eleanor, we come to find out, walks in and she goes, "Oh, that's so sweet of you sharing your pudding and all that." He goes, "Yeah, that's what I do."
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I'm just a very nice guy."
Yeah, and all the while he's like, "All right, let's get out of here." And of course, that old lady, she opens it, takes a little spoonful, and starts like pretending to choke.
Yeah.
She pretends to choke. Everyone comes and like is wondering if she's all right.
Yeah.
And then he makes his escape plan. And he's running. And the way he's running is like he's going for his life. He has no plan other than to just get out of there. And then he gets tackled.
Yeah, dude, he gets hit sticked.
He freaking does. Like out of nowhere, he just
yeah.
Someone comes up and tackles him. And I just liked it because one, it was funny. And two, it already gives us the motivation of Zach.
Yes.
He is not where he should be.
Yes.
And he has a future. He has plans he wants to fulfill.
Mm-hmm.
Even though people tell him, "Oh, you'll never do that," he still has plans and he's gonna act on those.
Yeah.
And it fills us with hope that he will get out of there, but then also kind of leaves you with a little bit of that dread, where it's like,
what if he doesn't?
He's in a cage. He was there, his freedom was there, and then he got tackled and said, "No, you can't. You're here forever.
Yeah.
Your future is not what you want it to be."
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think that kind of, especially, and I'm glad they said it in the context of a retirement home, because that is kind of like how it goes. Unfortunately,
the people that go there are at the end of their life.
Yeah.
And they're there to live as carefree as possible until they eventually pass away.
Yeah. And then like, even if they wanted to leave, I'm pretty sure you like sign your rights away.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, even if you had a different plan, sorry.
Yeah.
Especially if your other like family doesn't come around much.
Yeah.
You're kind of just stuck.
Yeah.
And that's what Zach is.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately. I mean, it's not, I'm glad he gets out later on. I guess we could talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up watching the whole Saltwater Redneck tape that he got.
For like the 10th time that day or something, I think Carl says.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Eleanor's like, "You can't be acting like this. I'm going to write you up for delinquency," or whatever the heck what'd she say?
She says,
"Your flight risk."
Yeah, I have to label you a flight risk.
Yeah. And then he promises to be all right. And then we get the information that Carl was an engineer earlier in his life. And he's like, we get the scene where he's twisting like a rope that's tied to the bars, because they put the bars up so he wouldn't escape anymore.
Yeah.
So he's twisting the bars, and he ends up like with the mechanics of it all.
Yeah.
Bending the bars, and he's like, "Here's some soap. Rub it all over your body. You'll slide out of there. Trust me."
Yeah.
And he does.
In his undies, man.
That's all he has to his name. It's bare undies.
Yeah. It's funny, too, like, whenever he finally does squeeze out and he's running down the road, he's just like... like it's just like tidy whities.
I know. It seems like some great escape.
Yeah.
Like he just escaped Alcatraz or something.
Yeah.
And it made me bust up laughing.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the context as to how he meets
Tyler.
Tyler.
Yes.
Yeah. He goes down to the docks and sees a boat and just goes and decides to hide under
one of these tarps.
Yeah, the
something
tarps.
like that.
And he witnesses Tyler getting beat up.
Yeah.
Which was pretty crazy. How do you feel about Tyler's character in this moment? Like,
well,
the intro to him.
So the introduction, I think, is done it's done smart. Like, we get introduced to him. He's like, he's crab fishing. He's grabbing all these crab pots, dumping them in. It looks like, he's doing a hard day's work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he looks like grimy.
He does.
Right? Like, he's got just this grown out beard, this nasty white t-shirt, just all dingy and brown looking, and he's wearing jorts, and
he's got like a roughed up hat.
Yeah, like he just looks like a working man, right? And he's grabbing all these crab pots and stuff and everything, and in one specific scene we noticed that one of the buoys that's holding up to denote where one of the crab pots are, he's cutting the buoys off.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, why is he doing that? I would figure, he would want to keep those, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's driving down his boat, and then that's when he comes to see that there is police officers out there as well patrolling the Delta area, and he sees the cops, and like this like eerie music kind of comes in, and he just does a 180 and is like, I'm not even gonna go with the cops. So now we're kind of like, okay, he's doing something wrong here, right? He doesn't want to get caught by the cops doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever he goes back to the docks and is scaling fish and all this crab and everything that he just caught, we find out that he has been illegally catching all of this stuff and basically stealing the catch from another local fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
and is trying to cash in on basically all of their work that they're setting out to do. And the guy tells him, like, you can't do this anymore. You are fishing illegally. If you get caught, then I get brought down with you. And I'm not going to put myself at risk. Like, you need to stop what you're doing and just go, because
You need to get your life in order.
Yeah. And basically tells him, like, you need to get your life in order. It's exactly what you said. And he, lets him go and says, what would your brother want for you? You think he's looking down from heaven and he's happy at what you're doing? And that's when we get a flashback where Tyler had a brother who was played by John Bernthal.
I know. One of the things that didn't work. Why is John Bernthal gonna be dead?
Yeah. Why is his character not here more?
He always plays the dead character.
Yeah.
In this, in The Bear, he does it in The Walking Dead, where he,
Yeah.
gets left up, and he's great.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah. So we come to find out that now he's also got no family. He's a drifter. He's only got enemies at this point, right? And then these fishermen that he was stealing from come up to him, confront him. They beat the crap out of him and tell him, like, you can't fish here anymore. If I catch you around here, I'm going to kill you, basically.
Yeah.
Or no, what Duncan says specifically is, if I catch you around here again, I'm gonna bring a tire iron to your skull or something like that. And at that point, we cut back. Zach sees everything that's going down and just kind of decides to stay quiet because there's conflict going on. And Tyler makes the decision to burn up all of the equipment, dude, and go on the run.
When basically. I tell you my jaw hit the floor when he decided to burn all that, I was like,
yeah, it's a huge bro moment for me.
For sure.
Whenever he decides to do all that.
Yeah.
But
the boat chase, how'd you feel about the boat chase?
It's pretty intense too.
I think so too.
And like he hops in this boat that Zach happens to be in, and these other guys hop in right behind him. They just go out into the reeds and just are trying to juke one another and lose each other. Mm-hmm. And the way that it was portrayed when I watched it again, at first I was like, man, they really wouldn't be able to see Tyler in these reeds,
I thought about that a little bit because
like
the dude's
it's like a bar that's hanging up. You wouldn't be able to see it really, but I appreciate that they specifically show another shot of the reeds and just how tall they are.
Yeah.
And you can't see a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if the engine on the boat is off and like you're just freely floating there and you've got cover, like you would have no idea where this guy is. Mm-hmm. And I thought the whole chase scene is pretty exhilarating too.
Yeah, a little bit of tension there when he turns off the boat and it's got to be so silent because he's going to die. He most likely is going to get beat up and dead.
Yeah.
And then you just hear the
yeah.
And immediately he pulls his knife out and is holding him up and he's like, he just tells him to be quiet.
Yeah.
And he's straight up like vomiting.
Yeah, all over him. You see like chunks.
It's disgusting. It's gross.
Yeah.
But he has nothing else to do other than to be quiet.
Yeah.
So he's waiting there and they end up leaving and he's like, he gets up and goes. And that's kind of the beginning of their relationship.
Yeah.
And, he goes on and has to shoot holes in his boat.
Yeah.
And
sink it.
It's so funny to see like two grown men in the ocean and one of them just has their tidy whities on.
Yeah.
Like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
In the funniest of ways though. And they get out and he basically tells them like you don't got a lick to your name at all. And he kind of like he doesn't really take ownership at this moment. He brings them to this crossing and he goes, "All right, you stay here. I'm going my way. I don't want to swim. I don't want to be buddies. See ya."
Yeah.
And he gets a little hitchhiking ride.
Yeah.
And goes while Zach stays there. And previously we get a scene where he says, "Hey, I can't swim.
Yeah.
I'm scared I can't swim. I need help."
Yeah.
And Tyler gets into a truck with the dude. He's going into town. The dude in the truck says, "Yeah, you heard about the fire that went down at the docks?
Yeah.
They're looking for the guy. They set up a
roadblock on 128.
Probably right where they're going."
Yeah.
And immediately he's like, "Oh, really? Oh, okay. You know what? I'm gonna get out of here. I left something back there."
Yeah.
So he gets out, makes his way all the way back, and then we get this like freaking turd of a kid.
Yeah. This is my favorite scene.
Okay,
here.
Take it away, because this kid, I felt so good when
I
he
felt
went
vindicated.
Bam! Like I never advocate hitting kids except this moment.
Yeah, me too.
It felt awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I love. Well, first off, I love Zach trying to continue to hang out with Tyler. And like whenever they're about to split ways, he's like, hey, like, you don't want to hang out, chill, and have a good time?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. I need to get going. He's like, well, I thought maybe we could be bros, be dogs, we could just be friends.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I can't do that. I got to get going. And so that all the things that you just said conspire. It brings Tyler back to where he had left Zach, and he sees that somehow. Oh, we didn't mention this. Whenever Tyler leaves, Zach sees these kids at the swimming hole that they're at, and they're like jumping off this thing and get into the water, and he sees them and goes over and says, "Hey, do you guys want to go to my birthday party?"
Oh yeah.
And he comes over with the most pure intentions, right? And then whenever Zach comes back, or Tyler comes back, he sees Zach up top, and these kids are peer pressuring him and bullying him and telling him, jump, R word, jump, and calling him these derogatory names. And eventually, Zach gives into the peer pressure and jumps. And while he's being peer pressured, Tyler is yelling at these kids saying, hey, you can't swim. Don't make him do that. Stop. And he's, yelling at him the whole time. And as he's starting to climb up, Zach jumps. And
dude.
he stands, Tyler gets all the way up there. He looks at the kid that's telling him, he's like, didn't I tell you not to? Boom.
It's right in his face.
Yeah, he like punches this kid in the face and then jumps in the water to save Zach because he said he can't swim.
Sinks like a rock.
Yeah, and he pulls him up out of the water, make sure he's good, and after that, gives him some clothes and all that
Gives
stuff.
him a shirt.
And gives him a shirt, and he was like, okay, where are you going? I need to find out exactly where you're going because, I've got a place where I'm going, and it looks like the place that you're wanting to go is on the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I will take you as far as you need to go,
And that's it.
then that's it. After that, we're done. We don't speak to one another again, and I go my way, you go your way.
Mm-hmm.
And so Zach is like, okay, cool, we can do that. And they start out on their journey with one another, and they begin to hang out with one another, be bros, dogs, have a good time.
Have a good time.
Yeah, it's this is where we get the entire premise of the film is that scene right
yes,
there.
and it's there. The building of the relationship is right here.
Yeah.
When they start to rely on each other.
Yeah.
I think is it's a really effective way to start this. It's not one of my favorite scenes, but it's a scene that really endeared me towards Tyler as a character.
Mm-hmm.
When he went to get they were talking in the cornfield, and he was like, "Oh, we got to go get some supplies." He's kind of getting pissed at him because he keeps saying,
Tyler, can we take a car?
He's like, none of this Tyler no more of this Tyler stuff, okay?
Yeah.
No more. You say one thing, and that's it.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't got supplies? We need them. Let's go get them.
Yeah.
So he goes to the convenience store, and all the while, Eleanor is tasked with finding him. They're not going to make a report or anything. She's got to find him because her job's on the line or whatever.
Yeah.
So she's going they're following the same path pretty much because she knows how much he loves saltwater redneck.
Yeah.
So she's following. They end up, he goes in there and he gets all kinds of groceries, putting them up there. The dude's counting it in, and he's like, son, that sandwich is $4. He's like, all right, put the sandwich away.
Yeah.
He ends up getting peanut butter and cigarettes.
Or fishing hooks.
Yeah, peanut butter and fishing hooks, right?
Yeah.
He does that, and then Eleanor walks in, and he immediately is like,
He puts the Mac on.
he does.
He becomes the Rizzler.
Hey, and it kind of works though. Yeah. It kind of works.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
A little bit.
Like
He kind of puts on this like Southern charm type thing.
I really like the interaction here because he's so charming and smooth.
Yeah.
The way but it's smooth in a way where it's like he's this grizzly, gruff, like kind of gross man.
Yeah.
But yet it's kind of like getting on her level. He's like, "Oh, you go to this school? Yeah, I know it." And she's like,
you got that look about you.
Yeah. And he's like, well, let me get your. He said something about getting her number, and she's like, no. And he goes, oh yeah, well, what if I find the guy? So I just holler at you.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you do that. You know, and it's like the beginnings of this little like,
yeah,
do they like each other? They're kind of making the moves.
Yeah.
And it just endeared me to their characters, honestly.
Yeah.
That's why I think Shia LaBeouf is so good in this role.
Yeah.
Because he plays this character so well.
Yeah. And we also find out, too, that this is where Tyler finds out that Zach is a wanted man.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes back to the cornfield and he's like, oh, I saw your little girlfriend is looking for you, and all this stuff. And he's like, dude, I didn't know you were on the run. Let's go. 2 boys on the lam. Let's do this.
And they're like, wow.
Yeah, they start going, yeah, woo. They start, just getting hyped with one another.
Yes.
And that leads to like one of my favorite quotes of the whole movie whenever, Tyler starts laying down some rules. And he's like, all right, if you're going to continue to hang out with me and do this thing, we've got to lay some ground rules. Number 1, like, don't slow me down. Number 2, you do what I say, when I say, and how I say it.
Yeah,
and
he said, I say jump, you say how high.
Yeah.
And he goes, how high? He goes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And, he like ends up giving him some more gear, lets him put some boots on and all this stuff. And I think he even gives him some of his pants.
He does, because he says they're like looking at the convenience store, and he goes, you got any money on you? He goes, no, I don't. And I don't have pockets.
He says, I have no money and I have no pockets.
He killed. He's just sitting there in his freaking chonies
and a t-shirt.
What's
it's like a gravedigger t-shirt. Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah. But, he ends up giving him a pair of pants and some of the boots that he had on his backpack. And, he starts going over all these rules with them. And Zach starts getting hyped. And they're like, all right, let's go. Let's start making our way there. And Zach's kind of lagging behind a little bit. And he goes, Zach, what'd I tell you? What's rule number 1? And he goes, party? And he goes, no, it's not party. Rule number 1 was don't slow me down. Remember that? Get that, all right? What's rule number 1 again? Don't slow me down. All right, you got it. What's rule number 2? What I say, when I say.
Yeah.
Remember that? And, they start going off on their journey.
So funny, man. The comedic timing here is perfect.
Yeah.
This is what got me to laugh hard.
Yeah. My next favorite scene is a little bit more into their journey when they spend their first night on a beach. And this is like the moment where they actually get real tender with one another. Yes. You know which one I'm talking about?
Is this the one where the alcohol comes out?
No,
okay.
It's before. It's whenever.
Oh yes, and
it's whenever
he talks
Zach
about being a good.
Yeah, Zach is practicing his bad guy laugh, his evil laugh.
He's like, you don't got to be a bad guy.
Yeah,
it's all about what's in here.
Yeah, I love this whole scene.
I did too.
It's
so good.
Yes.
It really highlights the complexity of the characters.
Yeah,
and I think it's such a really smart way.
Yeah,
because not only does Zach have all these stigmas that people have placed onto him that is really affecting him, we also see the guilt that Tyler is facing. Mm-hmm. They're both feeling like bad guys, and yet it's not really how it truly is.
Yeah.
And that whole quote is, "Are you a good guy or a bad guy?"
Yeah.
And he's like,
"I don't know.
I don't know, man." And then you get that.
There's like a brief pause, and he says, "I think you're a good guy."
And
it's just like, oh man, that's so heartwarming.
It is.
Like,
it is.
You could just tell that Zach can see that there's some sort of good in Tyler, but
good that I think Tyler is like forgotten.
Yeah.
Or he just doesn't believe is there anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And even the audience can see it as well because he's gone through all of this stuff. Like previous to this is a brum moment for me when they cross the river and they almost get taken up by the shrimp boat.
Yes, and he's
like pulling
ripping
him.
it.
He can't swim, so he like crafts like he like makes him takes his pants off, blows air in him, and makes him float. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna tie this rope around me, and you're just gonna float and do what you do, and I'm gonna swim us across because there's no other way we can do this,
dude.
And we see the shrimp boat come in. Looks like it's about to take both of them out. And
the top up shot is so sick.
Yeah.
When it's coming this way, and you just see the long tether line.
Yeah.
I'm biting my nails to see if they can make it across.
Yeah, and I love that Tyler like puts it like almost his life on the line. He's just pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling, and like whenever they finally make it, Zach, his reaction just kills me. He gets out and he's just like, "You're right. That was a great story to tell."
Yeah.
And doesn't even comprehend that like he could have died.
Yeah.
And he just kind of gets up and is like, "All right, come on, let's go." And Tyler's just like,
floating in the water like,
are you kidding me right now? Like,
can't believe we just did that.
Yeah. But that leads up to my favorite scene here currently, where they spend a night on the beach and, they have a fire, and Zach does his evil laugh and says that he wants to be a bad guy whenever he does his wrestling, because there's good guys and there's bad guys in the league. And Tyler questions him on it and asks Zach, like, why do you want to be a bad guy? What's so great about being a bad guy? And Zach says, well, I am a bad guy because my family left me. Mm. And it kind of hits Tyler a little bit, and he goes, that doesn't make you a bad guy. And he says, well, I'm also want to be a bad guy because, people told me I can't do things. And Tyler starts saying, who said that? Who said those things? He's like, coaches, teachers, they tell me I can't do things because I am a R word. And Tyler hears that, and he goes like, man, what a crappy coach. What a crap teacher.
So your team ever win anything?
Yeah.
It's like, that's what I thought they did because he sucks.
Yeah. And he just starts being like, those people suck. And, you have to realize too, like, you're not going to do everything in life. You can't swim. You got all muscle. You sink like a stone, but you're strong. Like you can do other things. You could play football if you wanted to. You could be a professional weightlifter, and like it really starts speaking life into Tyler and starts telling him like, anyone that's telling you can't do anything is wrong. And yeah, like I said, you're never going to be able to dunk a basketball. Look at you in the way that you're built. You're not going to be able to do some things, and that's okay. You just got to find out what it is that you can do and perfect it. Yeah. And then he goes, F your coach. Like F all those other guys that were telling you couldn't do anything because that's wrong. And that's a poor coach and a poor teacher.
Yeah. I don't know if you have the quote here, what he tells him.
No, go for it.
He says, you got a good guy heart. You can't do crap about it. It's just who you are. You're a hero.
Yeah.
And then Zach goes on to say, I can't be a hero because I am a Down syndrome person.
Yeah.
And then he goes, what's that got to do with your heart?
Yeah.
And it's just showing him like that's not who you are.
Yeah.
Who you are on the inside is all that matters.
Yeah.
And it's super wholesome.
Yeah. And then that leads to the tearjerker of a conversation where he says, are you a good guy or a bad guy, Tyler? And Tyler says, I don't know. I don't know what I am. And Tyler sees that light in him and says, I think you're a good guy.
Well, yeah. It kind of hits more of the emotional notes too, because he gets that whenever he says I don't know, it kind of flashbacks to I think the situation with his brother, how his brother passed away.
Yeah.
Like they were at a bar,
drinking.
They were drinking. He gets into the car and they're driving and he kind of just nods off and then it comes back.
Yeah.
And we kind of put two and two together to think, well, they crashed.
Yeah, he died. Tyler lived. And
imagine the guilt he must. He must blame himself.
Yeah.
He must be like, I'm a bad guy because this happened. I killed my brother.
Yeah. And
to hear someone say like, you have a good guy heart too.
Yeah.
Probably is like awakening something in him that he's probably never felt or hasn't felt in years.
Yeah.
It's so wholesome.
Yeah. This whole scene just brings tears to my eyes and a smile from ear to ear.
Yes.
So.
I have one of my favorite scenes of when they went to get the whole baptism scene.
Oh, okay.
I love this scene. They end up, I think it's just them two at this moment, and they find this scrap yard, and they see a boat that they're gonna steal, and the guy comes out and he's like, "I can't see you, but I'm gonna. You can't take my stuff." And he asks him a couple questions. Are you God fearing?
Yeah.
And they say sometimes. Oh no, that's what Eleanor says. I think.
Yes.
Okay.
No, what he says first, he says, "Are you boys black or white?"
Oh, and they don't say anything.
And they don't answer, and he goes, "Okay." Boom! It's like, shoots once, and he goes, "We're white. We're white."
Yeah.
And he goes, "All right. Is you God fearing?" And they go, "Yeah." And he goes,
"Good.
Well, good." But he like puts it away. Yeah.
And I love this scene too because it's like this guy who all he cares about is spreading the love of Christ with them and whatever.
Yeah.
And we get to this whole baptism scene where he's in the water and he's talking to him about like, what is he?
That water's nasty.
It looks
looking. It's
dirty.
like amber. Like it's brown. Whenever I seen it, you see him go down in it, and it comes up and it's just like this brown murky water. I was like, oh, I don't even want to be in that, dude. No. It looks wild.
He performs a baptism and basically says like, come in here, get baptized, and you guys can take all the scrap you want from my place. You just can't take that boat.
Yeah. And he even says too, like, I can tell just by knowing you guys for the few seconds that I have, and by my, my smell, my other senses, that you guys are sheep who have lost your way. And you just need to be put back on the right path again. And the way to do that is by having a baptism. So come on down here and, let's let you get back onto your journey, but I can't let you pass through here to go through your journey with all those sins on you. So we got to wash them all away and then let you be on your way, basically.
Yeah. Zach gets baptized and he says, I do baptism by fire.
Yeah.
The guy's like, oh, I don't do that here. But I like the whole scene of them building their
raft.
makeshift raft together. I just think it's something so cool.
Yeah.
It's something like I would never even have thought this movie would take this direction.
Yeah.
Of them building like this. It's almost like you play video games and it's just two planks together with barrels underneath, and you're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
And they get on it and go on their way and float down the river.
Yep.
And it's a boat that it's not a character, and yet it feels so crucial to them.
Yeah.
Not only because it's like it's separating them even more, so they have nothing to do other than to know each other.
Yeah.
And to grow.
Yeah.
And what happens to the boat later is like
it's even like
it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
And it's just a boat.
Yeah. My next favorite scene actually was a little bit before that, with the whole little training montage that they do, where like he's like, all right, you said you wanted to. They wake up the next morning and they're like, all right, you said you wanted to, train. You want me to help you train, be a professional wrestler? Let's go train. And they swim for a little bit. Tyler tries to teach him how to swim, and then they get up, and this is like the scene where like he shoots the shotgun. And, like they're cutting the watermelon out, they're putting it on their heads and wrestling and rolling the hay bed, those big hay rolls and all that stuff, and creating the secret handshakes and all that stuff. And they're I just love watching this little montage clip of them being boys. And like I think of even like small little scenes too, where like it's like intercut with them hanging out, and like Tyler looks like he's like rapping or like beatboxing or something like that, and you see Zach like dancing and all this stuff, and it's just an incredibly wholesome moment and a fun moment where you're just like, this looks fun. Like I want to go out here and do this with them.
They
that
probably
looks like
had
just
a blast.
It just looks like a great time.
Yeah.
Like I would just love to just go out and find some random watermelon, cut it open, eat it, put it on my head, and wrestle around and just hang out. Like just look like a good time.
Not a care in the world.
Yeah.
It's great. It's just like it's really just two brothers is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Two brothers who love each other and are just hanging out.
Yeah.
Which is great.
But yeah. From there, in the movie, then we go on to the scene that you just spoke about. But after that, my last favorite scene is the entire wrestling match.
Yes, that's mine too.
Okay.
Context of it is he goes to Saltwater Redneck. They finally get there, and who is this guy?
Yes. He just is a nobody.
Clint.
Like, yeah, he's just, my name's Clint. Like, and the way that they come about meeting him is
it's kind of heartbreaking, huh?
Yeah, so Eleanor ends up meeting up with them and comes along on the journey with them, and she really does it because Tyler kind of calls her out and is like, what do you want for him? And she's like, I'm not selling you to him, or I'm not going to sell him to you.
Yeah,
he's like, no. He's like, no, I'm not asking you that. What do you want for his future? Like, what do you want to see this guy accomplish? Like, he has so many hopes and dreams, and he's not doing anything about it because he's stuck in a cage. And like, you guys are afraid to let him go. You guys are afraid to understand him, and you think that the only way that you can do that is by putting him in a cage. And that's wrong. And so she comes along on the trip with him to go to this wrestling school. And eventually they do get there. And whenever they do, it's like some trailer park area, and Tyler goes up to the door, knocks on it, and he sees who is the Saltwater Redneck, but he's no longer a wrestler. He just goes by Clint now. And Tyler goes up and he's like, are you or were you the Saltwater Redneck? And he goes, yeah, but I don't do that stuff anymore.
Place closed 10 years ago.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, wrestling school it's done. It's been done for 10 years. And Tyler is like, oh man, you see that guy back there? You mind waving to him? That's my really good friend. And, you're his hero. Like, he looks up to you, man. Like, he just, we came all the way down here because he thought that, the wrestling school was still a thing. And, he really had all these hopes and dreams of coming down here and being a wrestler and just meeting you. Yeah. But, that's my burden to carry, not yours. I don't want to come here, and bring stuff to your doorstep and have you deal with it. But, all right, well, we'll get out of here. You mind if he comes up and says hi? And they come up and they introduce each other, and then they start walking away.
And that's it.
And Zach gets pissed and is like, I want to see the Saltwater Redneck. Maybe he's hiding out in the swamp. Like, maybe he's like, yeah, maybe he's by the boat. Maybe he's in some bushes. We can find him. And Tyler's trying to break it to him, and it's just like, he's not real, man. Like, he's just, we tried. He's not there. He's not real anymore. and freaking
Clint's goated in this
pulls
moment.
through,
Huh?
man. He pulls through, and they're walking on this dirt road, and you just hear like a wop, 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 wop. And we're like, what the heck is that, dude? And so he's pulling around. And you see this like Corvette, like T-top blue Corvette that says salt water on the back of it. And it's just whipping around, doing all these donuts and stuff and everything. It's got this like rock music blasting from the speakers. And then it like slides around. Everyone turns around and you see Clint, but he's in his saltwater redneck getup. He's got the bandanas, the paint on. And Zach turns around and he goes, it's him. I told you guys, look, I told you, he's real.
Yep.
And, they have just this whole moment where he's like, do you want to go back to my place and I'll teach you how to do some moves and all this stuff. We'll wrestle for a little bit. And he's like, hell yeah.
He's like, do you mind if I bring my family along?
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah. And, they all pile in. They go back and Tyler and Eleanor just watch Zach have just the time of his life, just learning these moves from his idol, his hero, and then just hanging out with one another and learning how to do what he does.
Yeah, this is the climax of their mission.
Yeah,
they are finally achieving that, and when all hope was lost, Clint pulls through.
Yes,
which is why it makes this scene so great, and it was so funny to see him like, you really gotta like once they hit you really gotta slam your foot down and
and give him a. Then you see Zach, dude. He's like, ugh. It's great.
It's so great.
I love it.
And the whole Peanut Butter Falcon is his alter ego. We get a scene earlier where he decides that he's like Falcon, and then he puts peanut butter on his face. He's like, Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah.
So that's where his alter ego comes in, and it's one of the best scenes ever.
Yeah.
And he ends up I think it's after this whole scene where they're sitting down. He's like, I think one of his friends are there.
Yeah, one of Clint's wrestling buddies is gonna be wrestling tomorrow morning, and Zach finds out, and Clint offers it to him and says like, "Do you want to be in a real match? Like we could put you in a real wrestling match, and you can do it for real. Does that sound cool?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, let's do it." Yeah. So they go the next morning, I should say, to that wrestling match where Zach is on the card amongst other guys. And I love the whole like lead up shot to when they're driving over there. So they're all driving over, and it's like 5 people crammed into like this like 4-seater car.
Yeah, and the dude's in the middle like
just like pissed. He looks like
I don't know what I want to know more about this guy.
Yeah, but they're driving over, and you can see Zach is just like kind of letting fear get the best of him, and Clint like turns the radio on and starts going. Like,
and they're all going, Rah!
trying to hype Zach up. And Zach starts getting into it, and then everyone just starts going, just start hyping him up, and he's just having this great time trying to get hyped up to go do this wrestling match. And I love the hard cut that they do where like he's getting excited, he's all excited to do it, and then right as they show up, you see some guy just get whack like with the freaking like metal chair, and he's just bleeding, and then he looks at Zach and he's just like, oh.
Yeah, you think because there's this immediate unspoken, I won't say rule, but it's like an unspoken like, okay, we're gonna wrestle, but it's not gonna be a real fight. Obviously he's not a professional. It's just to give him his dream. It's not gonna be a real match. You're gonna go up there and he's gonna throw him around, give him a few like soft little jabs or whatever. And it's gonna be a good time. But that real hard cut makes you think, hold on here, the vibes are a little weird.
This is like backyard wrestling to a T. Like, people are like actually hurting each other.
So we're like, okay, it's not gonna be like that, right? It's not gonna be like this. He's not gonna do that. I even love the whole hype scene too, where he get in there and he goes, Tyler, I'm scared. And he goes, oh, don't do that now. Don't do that right now. He goes, tell me I can do this, or tell me you can do this, and make me believe it. And they're both just going back and forth. He's like, that's what I'm talking about. You can do this. And dude, that whole wrestling scene blows my mind that the dude is like, I don't give a crap about you.
His pride gets the best of him, and he's just like, you think I'm gonna lose to a guy like that?
I'm like, bro,
and I'm like,
he's not even,
bro. Take yourself out of the equation for a second. Like,
seriously,
quit being so selfish and like try to see the bigger picture here. Like, this is literally this guy is like lifelong dream.
And it's his first
And
match.
his first match. He knows basically nothing about wrestling other than what you taught him yesterday. And you're going to go as hard as you are on him right now?
I know, and he like grabs his head and shoves him down.
Yeah, it pissed me off.
It
man.
does,
Like,
right?
It makes you angry at him. And it even Clint gets pissed. And he's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, ease up, man. Like, we're just trying to have some fun. And he just like, screw you. And just keeps going in on him.
The thing about this scene too is that that when Tyler and Eleanor share their first kiss together, it's almost like they're finally showing that love, and he pulls that whole slick move where he handcuffs her because she already knows the vibe. She's like, the people here do not care about him.
Yeah.
It is going to be a brutal match.
Yeah.
So we should not be doing this. This is not a smart idea.
Yeah.
And I think that brotherhood or that bond that he has with Zach is like, but this is his dream. We have to do it. And it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Watch, you'll see. Like, he's kind of denying all the blatant facts that are in front of him. Just so he can have this moment with Zach.
Yeah.
So he handcuffs her to the freaking
smooth
car.
little way to do it, too. He, like, kisses her and then goes.
She's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I wrote down, he's got to be stinky.
Oh, they eat peanut butter on fish, bro.
Yeah, dude.
He's gotta be stinking.
Yeah. As soon as I saw him kiss, I was like, bro, he's got to be stinking. I know it. Like, he just hasn't showered in a couple days, don't brush his teeth, eating peanut butter and fish.
That's got
to be nasty.
It's got to be just bubbling up there, dude.
Yeah. Another bro moment here, too, whenever we see one of the guys that was with Duncan at the dock is also at the match.
And he calls.
He calls Duncan and says, hey, Tyler is here down at this wrestling thing in Aiden. Come over here. That scene's pretty crazy, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also just love seeing Zach make his entrance. I think it's funny, too. Like, they rig together this, like, cardboard outfit for him. And, he does his entrance. They go, the Peanut Butter Falcon. And he comes out, and, like, no one's clapping at first. And he's just, like, doing his whole entrance thing. And then, he kind of goes around the crowd and starts high-fiving them. They all start getting hyped for him and just, yelling and cheering him on. He does, like, this whole, like, fist punch to the ground thing.
Like a superhero landing.
Yeah, and everyone is all like, just going crazy. And then when the whole wrestling starts, again, the guy that is Clint's buddy just is not taking it easy.
Immediate vibe change.
Yeah, and eventually it gets to the point where Zach, it looks like he's getting fed up with it. And he starts kind of acting back on it and starts getting aggressive. And Tyler's in his corner just telling him, like, trying to coach him, and is like, sweep out the leg, grab his arm, blah, blah, blah. And it gets to the point where Zach tries to do what he has been told is an impossible wrestling move, which is the atomic throw. And basically the atomic throw is where you get your opponent like over your head and you just launch him
as far as you can.
Yeah. And like whenever Clint had told him, is there any moves you want me to teach you? And he says, I want to learn the atomic throw. And Clint tells him, it's, that one's not real. It's impossible to do. The way that they did it was they would put a camera here on my face, and, there would be wires attached to this guy, and then they would just, cut to a clip of a guy getting thrown out of the ring. I never could do it, actually. It's pretty much impossible. And then we see Zach defy all odds and do the impossible. He straight up, like, picks this guy up over his head and just yeets him.
Like, and that dude flies.
Yeah.
He's seriously.
Yeah. And I love, too, how, like, everyone shares this moment where they're just.
It's all slow-mo. It's like.
Yeah. Looking at this guy just fly through the air. And as that's going on, Dakota Johnson's character, Eleanor, she sees Duncan pull up out of his car, tire iron in hand. And
just like you promised.
She's, like, trying to cut these handcuffs off that he just put on her. She gets out a little too late, starts running after Tyler to try to warn him, and as everyone's watching this atomic throw happen, Duncan is coming behind Tyler with the tire iron and just clocks him over the head with it.
Yeah.
And it cuts to black.
What a freaking way to end that scene, dude.
Yeah.
It's because they pull a thing where it's like, did he make it? Does he make it?
Yeah, because afterwards they cut, like, it's hospital. You just see Zach and
this
Eleanor.
Cake or his little cupcake with the candles in it.
Yeah, you even see Eleanor, like, there's a specific shot of her where she talks to a doctor, and then it cuts and she's, like, you know.
Right.
So they're building up the illusion that Tyler died.
But I think it's pretty effective because his whole character arc up until now has been like, we got to make Zach's life the best.
Yeah.
Like, we've got to give him his moments.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, the slow-mo scene, he's finally doing the impossible. Like, this is the climactic arc of him.
Yeah.
So it's only fitting if he had to die.
Mm-hmm. It would be at this moment.
What a time. You know, it's the perfect time to die, for lack of a better term, right?
Yeah.
Like, if the film is going to have him die, this is the moment.
Yeah.
He's got really nothing else to live for.
Yeah.
This is his goal.
Yeah.
And then he gets clocked.
Yeah.
So it's the way that they do it, I think, is a solid way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I don't know about you, but the first time I watched this movie,
I thought he was dead.
I thought he was dead for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I cried. Like,
Did you?
I was like, no, there's no way he died. Dude, it's so sad, right? And like, it cuts to that shot of Zach with his birthday cupcake. He blows out the candles, and it's just him by himself. And I'm like, dude, he's all alone again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just did the impossible, and now he's back to square one. Like, he thought he had family, and now they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the person that he loved is gone now. And I think after that shot, it cuts to black again, and they're in the car driving. And from what I had remembered, the first time I watched it, I thought they're driving back, and they're going back to the retirement home.
Yeah.
Like, it's just Eleanor and Zach, and they're driving, and then all of a sudden she says, "Oh, look, here we go," and she points, and camera turns over, and it says, "Welcome to Florida," which we had previously heard that's where Tyler was wanting to go to try to start a new life. And, you know, Zach says, "We're in Florida now." And he kind of taps the back and he says, "Hey, we are in Florida now." And then you see Tyler kind of put his hand up and says, "Good."
He's busted.
Yeah, he's just busted. He's head's wrapped up and all this stuff. And we just see them as, you know, the family that they are now, traveling to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the last shot of Zach just cheesing is just so wholesome. But, you know, Zach, I think in that moment just realizes that just this is my family now.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I've been wanting so long. This is what I have been longing for, and now I've got it. And, you know, he just kind of smiles a little bit, and then movie ends right there.
Movie ends. Perfect.
Yeah.
Love that. They give us back a character we thought was lost.
Yes.
And everything just feels complete.
Yes. It's great.
Great freaking ending.
Yeah. Gotta love it. Any best quotes here, or any further favorite scenes that we missed?
I don't think so.
All right, let's move into best quotes then.
Okay.
So my first one is from Carl, and Carl says something to the effect of, "Friends are the family that you choose." Yeah.
Pretty good theme of the movie. I have the one where Eleanor comes to the baptism dude's house, and she's like, "Have you seen this man?" And he goes, "I see crap, girl."
I die laughing.
And she's
that.
like, "Oh,
yeah, it's so funny."
He's so
His
funny.
delivery is great.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
like,
him.
"I see crap."
Yeah, I love it too. Another one too. Whenever Zach does the atomic throw right before he's about to do it, Clint tells him previously, he's like, "I want you to think of like the meanest, nastiest thing you could say to this guy, and just let him have it. Just let him, get in his head. If you start bleeding a little bit, wipe it all over your face. He hates that stuff, And right before he's about to do the atomic throw, Zach goes, "You are not invited to my birthday party," and picks him up and yeets him.
It's funny that the evilest thing is not being invited.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah, and I think it's so on par with his character too, because this is something that means so much to him. His birthday and his wishes and all that stuff means so much to Zach. Like, new people he meets, he randomly goes up to them and says like, "Hey, do you want to come to my birthday party?"
Yeah.
Or I think of an even more tender moment that made me really tear up the first time I watched it. Whenever they get on the raft for the first time, and
he says,
he puts his hand around Tyler and says, "Tyler, I want you to have all of my birthday wishes."
And Tyler's like,
and Tyler starts crying, and they kind of just have this moment with one another where they kind of just hug. I remember just crying.
They grab
at
each
that
other's
moment.
face.
Yeah, and they just kind of just have this little moment with one another. And I remember just cheesing from ear to ear, crying. And I was just like, "This is so sweet." I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was good. I really enjoyed the scene when They get on the boat for the first time with Eleanor, and Eleanor's like, do you need to eat? Oh, do you need a drink? Oh, I have an apple. I have all this. Oh, you don't want to eat? Oh, but you gotta watch your blood pressure. Can I get you some medicine? And it's like she's just like going into her work mode.
Yeah.
And the whole time Tyler's looking at her and he's like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
None of this. Don't do all that. And they end up convincing Zach to continue his training by holding his breath.
Yeah.
And he puts his head underwater. He catches a fish, which is funny. But he's underwater. And as he's down there, they're talking about, I think, some really important stuff. He says, like, I know you're not directly saying the word to him. Like, you're not calling him it. But you sure are making him feel that way.
Yeah.
Because all that word really means is you can't do it without help. And that's exactly how you're making him feel.
Yeah.
And he really calls her out.
Yeah.
And I think it's so smart how they bring it up.
Yeah.
And how they decide to show that.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah. Another one, but I think a little bit previous to that scene, whenever she meets them on the beach, she says, who are you? What have you been doing? And Tyler says, I'm the guy that's been taking care of him because you can't do it unless you put him in a cage. And like, I remember hearing that for the first time and just being like, oh,
it's true,
man.
There's even the scene too where he's like, it's so funny where he's got that smooth character coming out when he's talking. He's like, look, you know what? I don't know why you're here. Maybe you come all this way because you like me or something. He says that like under his breath, and I died laughing when he said that, dude.
Yeah.
He does anything he can to like get a little like, I like you. We like each other.
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah. That's it for best quotes for me here.
Me as well.
All right. Well, let's get into some bro moments.
Quite a few. We talked about a lot of them.
Yes. One that we haven't talked about.
Oh, what do you got?
Towards the beginning, whenever Zach tries to make his escape at nighttime, one of the nurses comes in and like he's watching the Saltwater Redneck tape again, and one of the nurses comes in and knocks on the door and says, "Bedtime, R word."
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that for the first time, and you see Zach's reaction just be like, and he's like just immediately caught off guard.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to just like smash that guy's head into a wall, dude. Like I just like, oh, you have no reason to freaking call him that, like other than to be spiteful. Like why do you have to be that way?
They're just evil people.
Yeah,
we don't care.
Yeah,
and it's like a nurse. Yeah. This is a person who should be
taking care of him,
unconditionally loving, unconditionally like advocating for the patient.
Yes.
And you see him act like this and treat him this way is just like you have no business being in the profession you are.
Yeah.
If that's how you decide to treat your patients.
Yeah.
Definitely horrible.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of. We've talked about quite a few of mine.
We said a blind guy with a gun. Zach catching the fish with his bare hands. That's a bro moment for me.
Yeah, that's for sure.
What about the raft getting set on fire?
Yeah, that's kind of really hurts my heart. They're all sleeping in this like little outhouse shack thing, and Tyler wakes up and the thing is on fire. Yeah. The raft that they built that they've been floating on is on fire. Yeah. And he goes out, and then immediately the Duncan and his guys come up and like pretty much take him hostage and are about to be like, choose which hand. I don't know if they're going to cut the hand off or cut a finger off or something.
I think they were thinking they were just going to shoot it.
Or just shoot his hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were going to get their money back no matter what.
Yeah.
And then freaking Zach comes out with a shotgun.
Yeah, like the Terminator, man. He's just like looking at him.
He's like, he'll shoot you. Yeah. He'll shoot you.
Yeah. I even love that guy, what's his name? Rat Boy?
Yeah, something dumb.
Yeah. Which is Yellow Wolf, a rapper.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Crazy.
Did not know that.
But Rat Boy is like, you may have got that thing, but can you aim it? And then Zach goes, it's a buckshot.
Like, you don't have to aim it.
Yeah. I love it.
It'll get you.
Yeah.
That's a for sure bro moment, seeing the raft.
Yeah. Last one for me is the meeting Saltwater Redneck for the first time.
Yeah. My last one is the fake out death scene.
Okay.
Pretty wild.
Yeah. All right. If that's it for bro moments, let's move into some facts with the bros.
Yes. What do we got for the budget?
Yeah. So this budget was, the movie was made on a budget of $6.2 million and ended up grossing $20.4 million in the U.S.
Wow.
Worldwide, went on to gross $133 million.
Holy jeez.
Yeah. So this was an insanely profitable movie. And yeah, just a box office success all
Oh,
around.
heck yeah, dude. Heck yes.
Yeah. Another one actually in regards to the making of the film.
Yes.
This movie came about because the directors and writers, Tyler Nilson and Michael Schwartz, they met Zach at a camp for disabled and non-disabled people. And whenever they met him, Zach had expressed his desire to be a movie star. And so the directors wrote the script around him and Zach's hopes and dreams, and that those hopes and dreams kind of bled into the script. And people they knew who would allow them to film in the area for free without permits and all this stuff. So they, really wrote this story around Zach, who plays the character Zach.
Yeah, Zach and yeah.
And they really, made this because they wanted this guy to have his shot.
Yeah,
Which I thought was just incredibly wholesome.
Yeah, and this guy is just made for the screen. Honestly, he's got this presence about him that I think is just it's really unique and not something that you can learn. I feel like he's perfect with it. It's funny too when you say that it was written around him. He ad-libbed to some of his lines, like when he says, "What's rule number 1?" He says, "Party."
Yeah,
that's ad-libbed.
Yeah,
which I think is insanely funny
mm-hmm.
because that's comedic gold. I also like to, when they were swinging on the ropes and they were like, "Oh, we're scared, I'm scared, I'm scared." It was they actually did it. There was no stunt people involved.
I love that.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, you just have fun.
You literally, like, who can say like, "Oh man, for work today, I had to swing off of a crane into a lake."
Probably had to do it like 30 times too.
Yeah, and I would have the best time doing it too.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
I love that.
Yeah. Another one here, actually, in regards to how Shia LaBeouf got the role. So originally, Tyler was meant for this actor named Ben Foster, who appeared in a movie I've seen called Hell or High Water and a couple other movies. But according to Shia, in an interview that he did with Collider, Ben Foster dropped out last minute to spend time with his pregnant wife, actress Laura Prepon, and their child. And Foster then called Shia and offered him the role and to take his place in the movie, and that's how Shia came to be in the movie.
Wow. Also perfect casting.
Yes. I think so too.
I was watching an interview with Shia and Zach together. Dude was asking him questions, and there was one of the questions that they got asked was like, "Well, what was a cool trinket you got to take away from the film?" And he went on to say like, "Oh, I didn't really find any trinkets, but one of the coolest things I got was to meet Zach.
Yeah. And
to get his number, and I guess they still have a relationship, and they text and all that stuff. Yeah. And that's cool that like he even it's so. I just think Shia LaBeouf, he's got such a wild history, and I don't really know much about his off-screen presence as much as probably everybody else does. But he just seems like this super just genuine guy. Yeah. And he seems really like. He's got all these like really in-depth, unique thoughts. Yeah. And he really goes on to say like, what Zach taught me was like he softened me throughout this film, and he's the one like when you're around him, you can't help but just feel this joy and passion to be around Zach. Yeah. And he really goes on to say that Zach was like his relationship from Zach in the movie was like the main thing that he took away from the film. Yeah. Which I think is just wholesome.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. I even loved too with the Oscars that followed up that year. They even got to present an award with one another at the Oscars, and they went out and I remember a couple people thinking that like Shia was laughing at Zach at certain parts whenever they were presenting the award because Zach was kind of stumbling over his words a little bit, and they thought that he was kind of poking fun at him on the main stage. But that wasn't the case. They came out there, and Shia like really advocated for Zach to be like, you can do it. Like you are just as much of a human being as I am, and the only thing that's different about you and I is just the way that we look. Like there is nothing else that is different between you and I. So you should go out there and enjoy the limelight and present this award. And you can just tell their relationship whenever they get up there together and present this award. Like they just are buddies, and you can just tell.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other facts here?
No, I don't think I do. It was kind of light on the facts.
Yeah, same here. Well, that's it for the facts. Let's move into what didn't work.
Yeah. this is a like kind of quick movie, and I think we have talked about it a little earlier before recording. This movie is really efficient in the way it decides to tell its story, and I think it might almost be a little too efficient. Like I think the development between Eleanor and Tyler's relationship kind of gets sidelined a little bit, and you kind of just have to believe that they fall in love with each other and that she decides to go on this grand adventure and has a whole, like, she volunteers, but she leaves the van behind and all that stuff. You kind of have to make that concession, like, oh, yeah, it's a film. She has to follow along,
Yeah.
And I think that in its efficiency, it kind of lacks in that development of a relationship.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the only other thing that really doesn't work, or I guess you could say doesn't work, I don't know, for me it does, but like the very obvious like wire work, whenever the atomic throw happens and you see the guy get thrown, he just looks like stiff as a board.
Yeah.
Like whenever he's like being held by Zach, But I think it works to the movie's benefit, and it definitely adds some charm to it. I was talking with you a little bit before, and we were kind of wondering why they decided to do that, or even like the scene whenever Zach shoots the shotgun and he flies like 30 feet.
Yeah, there's like that would never happen in real life.
Yeah.
But
and we had kind of, or at least I had kind of come to
I like it.
The idea that like maybe this is just from Zach's perspective, like everyone has those big fish stories. Like everyone, you know what I'm talking about, where people, go on a fish and they're like, it was this big, when in reality it was this big. So maybe to Zach, it felt like he threw that guy 100 feet in the air or something like that.
Yeah.
Or he shot that shotgun and the kick just made him fly 30 feet back, or something like that. I think I like to believe that that's why they made those choices there.
Yeah.
Other than just for comedic effect.
Yeah. I think there's got to be something other than just comedic effect to it.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, man, I mean, this movie really does everything that it tries to do really well.
Yeah, I really found it difficult to find things that didn't belong.
Yeah, me too.
Lines of dialogue I felt were cheesy. There's pretty much nothing there that got me to question why it was there.
Yeah.
Or, think wrong about the movie. It's kind of, I guess it must be pretty good, right?
Yeah, fall into the same boat.
We must have a lot for what worked.
Yeah, first off, I think writing is just great.
Oh, yeah.
I like it feels genuine and it feels real. Like and I think that it's so important that the writing is done correctly with a movie like this, because it could come really ham-fisted. And it could be like at the end of the movie being like, see, no, that's why we should treat people all with respect. But it doesn't like hit you over the head with that theme. It just shows you like, hey, he's a human just like you are.
Yeah.
Like there's not that much difference between us, and there's no reason to talk down on this guy just because he has a mental condition.
Yeah, I don't know. It's less like, just displaying it, and more like it's just like chiseling it away to end up with a full picture of what we all know to be true already.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's not like ham fisting this theme at you. It's more just like, I'm gonna chisel away these characters, and what we're left with is the theme of the movie, which is we're all the same.
Yeah,
and we should not be treated any differently. And I think it's literally perfect in that way. And the writing, I love how the writing is like in the dialect of the area.
Yeah,
where Shia LaBeouf is saying like all these like, you ain't got a lick on you.
Yeah.
Like he's talking
you ain't got
like
a lick of water on you, do you?
Yeah, like he's talking like that. Like there is no script,
Yeah.
Otherwise it would feel a little like, it wouldn't match him talking more. Not, I wouldn't even say proper, but him just like saying regular words. It wouldn't match his appearance either, because he's like this rough and tough, I'm gonna say word, like I'm not the most eloquent speech person or whatever. I just think it all works together well, and to bring it on to the characters, casting is great.
Yeah, I think so too. I think everyone that is cast in this movie is just perfect. I couldn't see anybody else doing the role.
No.
Yeah, I agree. I think acting is great too.
Yeah, the charisma that they have on screen. I mean, you can't do it much better than this.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
Even going on to the motivations of the characters, dude, I found that incredibly engaging.
Yeah.
I love the internal struggles that every character is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like even a little bit with Eleanor too. She gets a call where they're like, "We're gonna transfer him to this horrible place because you labeled him a flight risk."
Yeah.
And she's like trying to advocate for him as well. Like she's you know, she even goes on to say like, you don't know me. I literally like hold people's hands and watch them pass away.
Yeah.
Like we get a lot of these really deep internal struggles that all the characters are going on, and how they are all linked together, I think is just incredibly smart and efficient.
Yeah.
And really gets me to buy into these characters, dude. Like
Yeah.
I don't question, how do we get onto this path? This is crazy. This is stupid. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Immediately I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
It's an outlandish plot. They do random wild stuff, and yet I'm sitting there going, this is real life. You know, this is real. Like I don't know what else to say. It's real.
Yeah.
Feels super genuine.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only other thing that I did have written down here was, all in all, I mean, I guess this kind of falls in line with the writing, but the movie just pushes an incredibly wholesome message.
Yeah.
And just ever-present theme throughout the movie of just, you know, we're all in this together. Family or friends are the family that you choose, you know, type thing. And I don't know how anyone could come out of this movie and being like, that sucked. You know, like,
no,
like it's just, this movie is just, it's great. Like, and I can't see somebody hating it.
Mm-mm.
Really.
Yeah, you'd have to really just hate people.
Yeah.
'Cause
Or just like think that, oh, they're pushing some agenda, you know, like, I just don't believe
You just
that.
have to
I
be
don't.
super cynical, I think.
Yeah.
Because I come out of this feeling like humanity succeeded.
Yeah.
You know, this is like,
Yeah.
this is the pinnacle of humanity. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
we went through all that crap, and yet we still persevered and are better for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what the movie is.
I agree.
And how could you hate something as wholesome as that, right?
Yeah.
Not saying it's absolutely perfect, but like, I think it was great.
Yeah. If that's it for what did work,
Yeah.
who wins this movie?
I think I'm going to go on to say Shia LaBeouf. I think it might be a little shock because Zach does a great job, but
Yes, he does.
I think Shia LaBeouf is someone I'm already familiar with, so I really like him already. And to see him, you know, take this role and struggle with these things, I think is just great.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm going to agree with you here. Whenever I think of this movie, I think of Shia's character and just his love for Zach.
Yeah.
And just his zeal for wanting Zach to be understood and treated like just a regular person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he wins it here for me too. I kind of spoiled my theme a little bit already, but I had wrote down Carl's quote for "Friends are the family that you choose."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it would just goes on to the whole idea of like people with like you shouldn't look at a person with disabilities and immediately think they are not able,
Yeah,
because that's not the case at
Mhm.
all.
yeah,
And you're immediately like selling them short of all that they could accomplish.
yeah,
And that the whole movie is just saying that they're no different.
yeah,
We're all human,
yeah,
and that's a very good truth to kind of embody, right?
yeah, exactly.
So
All right, what are we rating this bad boy?
I'm gonna go ahead and give this one an 8, a very solid 8.
I am as well.
All right.
I think it is a great movie, and again, if you walk out of this movie not satisfied or being angry or hateful at the end of it,
I'd
I
love to
don't-
hear why.
I would too. I would
I am
love for you to
super.
change.
I'm so open to hearing why.
I'd love for you to change my mind
Yeah, seriously.
because I can't walk away from a movie feeling that this
No.
movie is just it's great
Mm.
and it is a fun watch. It's something that I think is incredibly rewatchable.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's one of those movies where you're like, man, I just want something light and just, wholehearted.
Something human.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a movie I could recommend to anybody.
Yeah, me too. So that's about it here for the episode.
Mhm.
So if you stuck all the way to the end, we appreciate you. If you did and you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the episode, what we missed, what you agree with, what you don't agree with. recommendations maybe for newer episodes or movies you think we should check out, how we can make the pod better, something like that. You can also like and subscribe to the channel. It definitely really does help. Seeing the subscriber number going up has been really encouraging, but I went on our analytics and saw that
90%.
It's 80% of people that watch the videos are not subscribed.
Yeah.
So maybe whenever we start the videos, I gotta start being like, smash that subscribe button, like the stereotypical YouTubers do.
Oh,
but
man.
the subscribing does help, man. It lets us know that there is a consistent number of people that are checking our videos out, and it helps. As well as liking the videos. So if you're liking the videos, we appreciate you too.
Yeah, the comments are cool too. There are some comments where people give us facts we didn't bring up, and it's enlightening. Like sometimes you read them, like, that's sick.
Yeah,
I wish I would have brought that up.
Yeah, seriously. And it's one of the things that I really love about the whole comment system on YouTube is that it's just a continuation of the conversation.
Right.
So if there's something we missed, that's just a forum almost for you guys to just spew about how much you love the movie.
Yeah. I was reading the comment on the Everything Everywhere All at Once episode where the people were talking about their movie experience, and I was like, yes, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I like hearing all the things that I didn't get to experience, and how impactful that movie was, because it's more like, I know it's just us and we kind of feel the same way, but it's cool to hear other people also having similar experiences and what they get to see and all that. So it doesn't go unnoticed. I will say that it's super cool to read.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So if you're doing that on YouTube, we love you, we appreciate you, you guys are the best. And if you're doing it on the podcast platforms, whether that be Spotify, Apple, Google, and you're listening on the audio platforms, use the rate and review system. It lets people know that there is some merit to this show, and it's again another way where you can voice your opinions and let us know how we can make the show better, or what you're liking and what you're not liking, all that other stuff. So if you don't want to do something on as big of a public platform as YouTube and the podcast apps, you can go to our episode descriptions, and in every episode description, we have our methods of contact. So that's our Instagram accounts, as well as our Letterboxd account and our show email.
Yeah.
So if you're wanting to just contact us that way, or stay up to date via the Instagram or something like that, you can follow us on all those platforms or contact us there.
We got it.
So that's about it. That was it for Abe's pick. We're going to move on to my pick now, I believe, right?
This movie I'm excited for.
Yeah, it's an iconic one.
Iconic one that I have not seen.
Yeah. I remember watching this movie that we're going to talk about for the first time on VHS in an RV.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, and I remember watching it for the first time and just being like, this was sick. And then I told my dad all about it, and then he went and got copies of all the 3 of the movies that were out at the time, and I remember we just watched them all, and I loved them. They were great, and they've been something of reference in my household just for the longest time.
I know. I want to see, specifically because we're starting with the first movie, I want to see how it became such a cultural icon.
Yeah,
and if it still holds up, I'm pretty sure it will.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it, but I haven't seen it yet. So
yeah. So we're going to be diving into a movie starring Harrison Ford, and it is his iconic role as Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I think the first film came out in 1981.
Yes.
What I believe is correct. But yeah, it's currently streaming on Paramount Plus, and man, this movie is phenomenal. I've been wanting to revisit the Indiana Jones trilogy, the core trilogy first, and one of the movies that I always watch out of that trilogy was always Temple of Doom.
The second one?
Yes. The Temple of Doom was always of reference in my household growing up. My dad thought, the antagonist for that movie was just hilarious, and would tease us and all this stuff and play around with us going, Kalima, and acting like he's ripping our heart out and all this stuff. And I loved the second one because I watched it so much growing up. But I remember watching the first one and loving the first one just as much. But it was one that I never really ever came back to. And for some reason, I just really wanted to revisit them again. So I'm excited to dive into the first one again with what feels like fresh eyes, because I haven't seen it in a really long time. And then seeing what everybody else thinks about it too, because from what I understand, I think this is going to be everybody's first time.
Yeah, mine. Probably Abraham's too.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting. Do you have any hype for the Dial of Destiny? I know a trailer just came out. Harrison Ford's, he's pretty old.
Yeah, I haven't seen the trailer, so I'm gonna have to check it out.
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't know, man. I remember going and seeing the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in theaters and being upset.
You didn't like that one?
Yeah, I remember being upset. I mean, I thought the whole like Nuke Town aspect of it was cool, where he like climbs in the fridge and like
it
gets blown up, and he like somehow is still safe in the fridge. I thought that whole aspect of it was cool when I watched it for the first time, but I can confidently say I have not returned to it since I watched it that one time.
It's not gonna be good, huh?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was universally hated on by everybody, but it is canon, so
gotta deal with it.
yeah.
Dial of Destiny, I've seen some hype being built around it,
Okay.
but I'm not too sure. It's got
Hopefully-
Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh,
So
I like him.
I
He's a
like
great
him
guy.
too.
All right.
We'll see.
Well, we'll have to. I mean, hopefully what I assume is they end this series here. They ended on a good note.
Hopefully.
I would only hope so, and that they do it with respect for the character.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's all you can ask for.
yeah. So we're gonna be diving into Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark next week. Stream it on Paramount Plus. And as always, this has been the Film Bros Podcast. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.